Take me to your state, Iowa. How do people there feel about this executive order about plants being reopened or staying opened?
I think people are very nervous. Look, I just touched my face. I think people in Iowa are very nervous about this order mandating that all food processing facilities must stay open. And in Waterloo, Iowa, where the Tyson pork plant's been shut down, there's hundreds and hundreds of cases, over 1,000 cases in Black Hawk County, home to Waterloo. And the mayor and the sheriff there are very nervous about that plant being reopened until we somehow get some handle on who's ill and who isn't. And here in Storm Lake, we're home to a Tyson pork and turkey plant, and with over 2,000 workers, mainly immigrant, who were afraid before the coronavirus. And now they're terrified. They were afraid of being picked up in a sweep. They had been terrorized by our president and congressman. Whether they're legal or not, they were living in fear. And now they're even more scared. They're afraid to call in sick. They're afraid to file for unemployment. They're afraid of everything. And however, there's no testing at this plant in Storm Lake. So we don't really know how many cases there are in our area, and it could be 200-300, but only 5 have been reported as of today, and only 1 we know of came out of the Storm Lake Tyson meatpacking complex.
Well, your governor, Kim Reynolds, has said if people don't go back to work, that's going to be considered a voluntary quit, and they won't be eligible for unemployment benefits. How do the people of Iowa feel about that?
Well, again, I think everybody's nervous about going back to work, especially in a restaurant, or in fact, the local restaurants, although being allowed to reopen tomorrow, most of the local restaurants and churches here are saying, no, we are not reopening until we know we can keep our employees and customers or parishioners safe. And all the mainline churches have agreed not to have services, even though the governor's allowing it. So I think most people are not in tune with what the governor's up to, and they're very nervous about these hotspot food processing plants, which are all over the state. And I would add, not all owned by Tyson. There's Smithfield, there's JBS, and then there's smaller independent regional processors. There's dairies. This is the densest livestock area in North America, northwest Iowa. And so everybody's nervous about it. Farmers have hogs backed up. They're thinking about starting to shoot hogs and just bury them, or take them to the plants and just kill them and then bury them or incinerate them. And it makes everybody nauseous.
Sure does. I want to read a quote that stuck out to me that really shows how complicated this is. It's from a resident of Columbus Junction, Iowa, who got coronavirus, and 2 of his family members work at a nearby Tyson plant. And he wrote this: "I'm worried that the plant is back open, but on the other hand, I'm worried that they're closed. This town, they don't have anything else to get support from. If we lost Tyson, we'd lose everything." These plants are the lifeblood of many Iowa communities.
Yeah, we're scared to death about this plant closing down. We've been scared about it since it was closed in 1980, when it was a high-grade plant, then became IBP. It opened up a year later. That year interim in 1980 was hell on Storm Lake. And a lot of people moved out of town. We weren't sure who'd be the last person to turn off the lights. I can remember that, and I don't want to go through that again. But on the other hand, all my neighbors are these darling children who come from Latin America, and they want to come in and pet our rabbit, and we can't let them because it could kill us. And so we don't want these plants necessarily to reopen until we know that strict protocols are being in place to control the spread of the virus. And it would seem to me if there were a federal order that said, you know, we're going to slow down line speeds to X amount, and we're going to require so many feet of distance in a plant, every plant would have to comply with it. But when you leave it all to a voluntary system, then let's say Smithfield or JBS can open up production, and Tyson is saying, well, wait a minute, we were trying to protect our workers, but now we've got to go all out to compete. And it's a very mature, razor-thin margins in this industry.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me, or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.